Welcome to Corona Cafe. Excuse the sunglasses. I've got sun right in my eyes and all the shady parts of the yard are a bit lumpy to use for a chair. Today we're gonna try out chair yoga. I confess that chair yoga is new to me too, but I'm discovering it can be really helpful in a few ways. So the obvious one is that if you don't have the mobility to be on your feet or getting up and down off the ground, then it's really helpful. Another way in which it's helpful is that many of us are sitting at some point during the day and maybe things in our body don't feel great and we don't have the energy or the time to get up and say, forget this thing I'm doing, I'm just gonna go do yoga. But we can incorporate some bits of chair yoga right into our work day or whatever else you might be doing that involves sitting. So if you find that getting up and down from the ground is too hard for you, this is a good starting place. If you just want to incorporate a little bit of stretching into your work day, if you're working again, then this can be a way to do that as well. So it's something to try. If you do have severe POTS or dysautonomia from COVID, and you find that you get lightheaded sitting with your feet on the floor, then this is probably not going to be the best practice for you. I do have POTS and I can handle this just fine. I just wouldn't want to do it for hours. So I don't even have my compression socks on. I mean, crazy. Okay, we're gonna get started. All you really need besides comfortable clothing is a sturdy chair, ideally one with a back. We'll have one pose where you're really gonna want a back that you can hold on to. So go ahead, sit down, feet flat on the floor. If that's not possible with your chair, see if there's something you can put underneath your feet so that you get your feet nice and flat on the floor, or under your bum if you need to lift yourself up more. We'll put the feet about hips distance apart. And go ahead and close the eyes and just feel your body in space. Notice the shape of your spine. Notice the parts of your body that feel long, the parts that feel slumped, the parts that feel open, the parts that feel tight. And then bring some breath into your awareness. Inhaling and exhaling. We're gonna use a modified breath practice here. Often in yoga classes, we do a form of breathing that's sometimes called square breathing, where we breathe into a certain count, we hold the inhale for that same count, we exhale to the same count, and then we pause at the bottom of the exhale for the same count before repeating the whole cycle. Instead of holding ourselves to a specific length and trying to make all of those parts of the breath equal, what we're gonna do is notice each of those individual parts of the breath. The inhale, that pause after the inhale, the exhale, and the pause after the exhale. We're gonna give some awareness to each of those, but I encourage you to make the length of each of those feel good for you. So I'm finding for myself, and I've heard many other long haulers say this too, that long exhalations are really helpful for me right now. So when we have a longer exhalation than inhalation, it helps kick the parasympathetic nervous system into gear, which is our rest and digest part of our nervous system. For me, it also tends to be helpful when I have shortness of breath. If I focus on long exhales, it helps with that sensation of not getting enough air. So we're gonna try this 4-part breathing, but I encourage you to make each part feel like a length that's appropriate for you. We're gonna introduce a small movement with the breath. So with our inhale, lift the arms overhead, moving at the same pace as your inhale. When you pause, let the arms pause. When you're ready to exhale, bring the hands together and slowly drop them to heart center so they arrive at the heart right when your exhale completes, pausing here and then repeating the cycle at your own pace. So again, the arms lift with the inhale, trying to line up the length of that lifting with your inhale. Pause, dropping the shoulders away from the ears so we don't get too much tension. Exhale, the hands come together and lower at your own pace. Pausing for as long as you'd like before repeating that cycle. Now, instead of trying to make your breath match the movement of your arms, try to have the arms match what's happening with your breath. Let the breath lead the way. Following your own rhythm, not mine. Maybe playing around with that long exhale. It might be nice to have the eyes closed and really sink into the sensations of your breath. See if you can hear the sound of your breath. Noticing the distinct sound of the inhale, the silence of the pause, the sound of the exhalation, followed by the silence of that pause again. Take one more breath at your own pace, and then you can just let the arms, the hands relax down to the lap. Noticing the effects of that intentional breathing. And now maybe we have a little tension in the arms and the shoulders from those movements. So let's go ahead and roll the shoulders up to the ears and down onto the back. 2 more times, up to the ears, down onto the back. Exhaling as the shoulders come down. We'll reach the hands out and give the wrists a few rolls in each direction. If you are back to work, and especially if you're working remotely at a computer, your wrists might be getting a little sore. Give them a shake. Relax them down. We'll give our ankles a roll. So stretch one foot out, circling the ankle in both directions. And then stretch the other leg out, letting that ankle move both ways in a circle. Notice where your breath is. If we've lost that awareness to it, invite a bit of your attention back to that breath. So as we move, we want to give some attention to the movements, the sensations of those movements, but leave that mindfulness of the breath there as part of the picture the whole time. So let's inhale the arms overhead again. Exhale, open them up like, we call it cactus arms in yoga. So kind of like 2 L's, or drop the elbows a little farther to create a W. Squeeze the shoulder blades together on the back so that the heart opens. Take a big mindful breath into that open heart. As you exhale it out, see if you can feel the shoulders of the muscles relax down. Inhaling once more, the heart lifts. Exhaling, the shoulders relax away from the ears. We'll go ahead and drop the arms down at the side. Breathe the left arm up with an inhale. Exhale, leaning over to your right side. You can put this hand wherever it feels supportive, maybe on the knee, maybe on your chair. Creating space in the side body, sending breath between the ribs. We'll inhale back up. Exhale over to the other side, so the opposite arm rises. Notice if the right shoulder has creeped up to the right ear, and plug it back into its socket. So we're long in the side body, but we don't have to hunch that shoulder up. Breathe into this shape. Inhaling back up when you're ready. We're going to take a simple twist, so we'll inhale both arms overhead. Exhale, twist to the right. So the left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. The right arm might come onto the back of the chair for a little bit of support and leverage. We don't need to twist deeply, so make sure the spine is long, maybe making it a little longer with your next inhale. And then if that length allows you to gently twist deeper on your exhale, great. And if there's no more room to move, that's fine. Don't need to go any deeper. Let the shoulders soften away from the ears. Feeling the spine lengthen with each inhale. And then the next time you inhale, let both arms lift. We'll exhale through center and over to the other side. Again, maybe using the back hand against your chair for leverage. Focusing on length. So with each inhale, lift the crown of the head a little higher. On the exhales, maybe you twist a little deeper. Maybe you just soften the shoulders away from the ears. Bring some awareness back to the breath. Soften the muscles in your face. The next inhale, the arms lift. Exhale, unwind, and we'll just take a little fold here. So if, as much as feels good. You don't have to end up on your own lap. Roll back up. And now we're gonna, if you've done any of my yoga practices or you've done yoga before, you're probably familiar with cat-cow. We're gonna create that same kind of movement here, but in a chair. So we'll plant the hands on the knees, the feet are about hips distance apart. With the inhale, the shoulder blades come together, the heart opens, the chin lifts a little, the gaze comes forward, and the low back is arching. On the exhale, we start rounding the low back, pulling the navel in toward the spine, rounding the spine one vertebra at a time until even the neck folds in. Inhale back to our cow pose. The belly is soft, the heart is open. Exhale, belly engages, pulls in as the spine rounds into our cat pose. Move with your own breath, inhaling to open, exhaling to contract and close. Follow the full length of your breath here, noticing if there are still pauses in your breathing, noticing if one part of your breath is longer than the other. Noticing if one part of your breath is louder than another. Noticing without judgment. One more time. Opening and rounding. And then we'll come back to a simple seated position. We're going to stand up, but not for too long. And this is probably my favorite thing to do with a chair as far as yoga is concerned. You don't need to turn your chair sideways. I'm just turning mine so that I stay on the screen and you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to take the hands to the back of our chair. If it's not about waist height, like if you're talking some really, really high back chair or some really low back chair, you might just want to move to a table or the back of a couch for this. So we want something steady to hold on to. We're going to walk the feet back, hinging from the hips as we do to lengthen the spine. So rather than rounding the spine, we're hinging at the hips, folding in. Breathe here. Let the heart sink down. Let the neck relax. Maybe turning the head to one side and then the other. Keep a little tiny bit of a bend in the knees. The backs of the legs aren't totally locked out. If you'd like, you can play with deeply bending one knee. And when you do that, you'll probably feel a deeper stretch in the back of the straight leg. And then you can switch, deeply bending the other knee to get that stretch in the back of the straighter leg. Even both the legs out, both the knees out. Take one more big breath here. And then very slowly, we'll walk our way forward, lifting the head, the blood pressure's done anything funky, give it a little time to settle before coming back to our seated position. And we're going to enjoy a hip stretch and then be all done for the day. So go ahead and lift the right ankle, and we're going to place it on top of that left knee. Now, if this is already just really crazy for your hips and you're here, that's fine. Just be where you are. We don't want pain. So we want to stretch, but we don't want pain in the knee or anywhere else. So find that sweet spot for you. If you're able to put the ankle up on top of the lower thigh or on top of the knee, then flex this foot. Invite the knee to relax down. Maybe we stay right here. If you'd like a little more stretch, hinge at the hips again so that the spine is long and lean into your stretch. And breathe. If you'd like, you can come back to that 4-part breathing. Noticing each part of your breath. Adjusting the length of each part to meet your needs and your intentions right now. If you've hinged, we'll come back up. This is a nice pose to try while you're typing. The hips are getting tight. And we're going to switch sides. So cross the opposite foot over. It might feel different on one side than the other. Flex the foot to protect the knee. Invite the knee to soften down toward the earth. Maybe we just stay here sitting up tall. Maybe it's hard to sit up tall because our hips are tight and we're working toward it. That's okay. Maybe we have room to hinge at the hips, exhaling and folding forward. Wherever you are, breathe. There's a natural tendency in the body, which is good and helpful, that when you inhale, it's going to sort of back you out of the pose a little. And when you exhale, it's going to soften you back into it. And that very, very subtle movement of our breath and the way it moves through our body when we're in a stretch can help our body relax deeper into a pose. So if you find yourself naturally lifting out a little bit on your inhale and softening in on your exhale, that's great. In fact, you can even amplify that if you'd like to create a little more movement, inviting the body to ease into the stretch. Hear the sound of your breath. It's the sound of the miracle of being alive, which for us long haulers maybe feels more miraculous than it has at other points in our life. When you're ready, come back up. Plant both feet. Notice if there's some part of your body that needs a last wiggle. So my shoulders would love to have a last wiggle. Maybe it all needs a wiggle. Give your body a little shake. And then we're going to settle. There's a spider spinning a web on me. That's why I'm feeling so wiggly. Give your body a last shake. And then we're going to settle in and just take 3 complete breaths. Sitting nice and still, let the eyes close, let the spine reach upwards, let the crown of the head stretches toward the sky. Let the shoulders soften. And again, find and feel your breath. Sitting still, breathing at your own pace. When you come to the end of your 3 breaths, just notice how you feel. Notice if there's something physical, something emotional, some thought, some intention that you'd like to take with you into the rest of your day. We'll breathe the arms overhead one more time together. Inhale up. Exhale the hands to heart center. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste.